Hello, welcome to CEO Insights. My name is Vitali. With me is Janik Emmendörfer. First of all, welcome, Janik.
Thank you for having me on.
It's a pleasure, real pleasure. So, Janik works for Nice Cognigy, which is a company that looks, well, why don't you introduce your company? I think you'll do a better job introducing exactly what you do.
Yeah, so Nice Cognigy is an orchestration platform for AI agents, predominantly in customer service space. And yeah, that's what we do in a nutshell.
Okay, beautiful. So we're talking customer service, AI enhancements, the chatbots, the conversational part of it, which is I believe Cognition was very strong on that conversational bot, and then Nice enhanced it with a whole backend other applications. So now we have what? Tell me, let's not get into the specifics of the companies, but you are one of the leading edge now with the merger of the two. Now you're one of the leading edge companies. But let's put that aside. I wanted to speak purely as a CEO and as a customer. What is it that what is the problem that we're solving, the biggest problem that we're solving for customer service people?
It's really making every interaction count. So I have a background in customer experience consulting, and I believe that every interaction that we have with a customer is our opportunity to differentiate, to create a stickiness, to keep the customer around. And especially in customer service, we always have the opportunity to take a situation that is somewhat negative, right? I don't call the airline because my flight was on time or because I found my luggage. I call because something went wrong. And if we take that negative experience and turn it into something positive, we create something that's called the service recovery paradox, where if I come in with a negative experience and leave with something positive, the impact on my customer satisfaction is actually higher than if I didn't have a bad experience in the first place. So these interactions, especially in customer service, really count, and we can use AI agents to at scale deliver good experiences here and create a stickiness and retention within the customer base.
That makes sense. I don't know why I'm thinking it's like first I have to have an argument with my wife, and then we have to make up. It feels much better, right? Afterwards,
Yeah.
but I'm not saying
Now don't
we
go
don't have.
create making arguments, right?
Probably not a good idea, but I get what you mean. It's like if the relationship is like blah, like there's nothing, there's no differentiation. But when you do have a when you go through a bad moments and you come out on top, it's a kind of a deepens the intimacy, right? Now we're really relating. Now they were there for me in the bad times. Now
Yeah.
now I can really I totally understand. And what you're saying is there's that technology like AI bots, customer service AI at least it can serve the customer when the rest of the organization is already overwhelmed, right?
Exactly. And especially when we talk about peak hours, when, I don't know, there's bad weather and a bunch of flights are being canceled, right? That's not something that the airline is at fault for. But if I then have a great experience rebooking my flights, and then maybe next time when I book a flight, it's like, hey, you know what? Flight can always get canceled. There can always be storms or snowstorms or whatever. But I know if I book with this and that airline, if something happens, they got me covered, right? So if we handle these situations well, we can, as I said, create that loyalty, and automating that process will help us because in these times of peak volumes, we're not able to cover all of that with human agents. And then if we add to a bad experience, if we add long wait times, now then we start a vicious circle, right? And that's why that automation part is so important.
I never thought of it that way, but I totally right. I mean, I think that that's what the technology enables us because in the normal times maybe it's not so. Listen, I'd rather speak to a person. Right. But it's also convenient, like when I pay bills and so on, and I have some problem. If I can, I don't want to wait for 10 minutes for an operator. If I can do it quickly and still get that kind of level of service, I would rather just speak to an AI because it's just a transaction. It's not a nothing, yeah.
I totally agree. And back in my customer consulting days, I always used to say that there's three layers of loyalty. There's transactional, the classic, you collect miles, and the more you shop with the company, the more benefits you get. So the classic baseline loyalty. And then you have functional loyalty. And I know that everybody talks about that company as an example, but I always use Uber. Like, why do customers shift from regular cab service to Uber? Because it's easier. It's in your pocket. You can just order. You see where when your driver is coming, the payment goes through. It's just easier. So that's functional loyalty, or that creates convenience. And then you have emotional loyalty that's really, going into the luxury brands, where there's a prestige or an image that comes with the product, walking around with a Rolex or driving a Porsche, that on one side, but also creating an emotional connection. And again, coming back to AI agents, we at scale can know the customer. We can attach the CRM to an AI agent, and we can actually talk to the customer as if we would have known him through his entire customer journey. And there's a lot of CRM vendors out there that will tell you that they create a 360-degree image of a customer. But if you think about it, it's more of a 360,000-degree image where you have so much data on that customer that, for example, a human agent in customer service, they cannot process all that data while talking to a customer. With an AI agent, we can do that. And we can have all that humongous information in the background and use it to really create hyper-personalized conversations that goes beyond what a human could do, because we cannot process that information at scale.
That makes so much sense. Yeah, particular because of the volume of information. So now we can say, "Hey, Mr. Johnson, I noticed you bought this from us, and also you're on our special program. And I remember your wife also called on this." And so you can start
Exactly.
doing all sorts of connections, right? And like I'm noticing that you've been traveling a lot on this and this and this and this. So you can, right? And they go,
Yeah,
"Whoa!" Like the
exactly.
normal agent wouldn't have time to connect all those dots, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And at the same time, let's just finish off also on a cautious note. Yeah, as you said, if somebody has just lost their husband or their wife and they're in some kind of emotional mood and they need to go and fill in a paper from a legal office, you probably don't want an AI saying, "I'm sorry to hear that. Like, they go, for the hell, you're a machine. Like,
Yeah.
why are you putting it through a machine? I'm trying, I've just had a family crisis or something, right?"
I 100% agree. And the goal is not to just replace humans, or replace human agents with AI. Um, I appreciate that there is conversations that should not be handled with technology and that need a more or a deeper human connection. However, even in those conversations, we can use certain parts of automations to free up human agent time so that they can actually spend more time on this delicate issue,
Yeah.
right? So you brought up the example of having to fill out legal documents or canceling contracts after a person has passed. Things like identification, authentication, that's something that's not emotionally filled or charged. And that's something we can still do with automation and then hand it over to a human agent that then can handle this more delicate part.
Yeah. Wow. I love talking to you. You're such a smart guy. I had to say it on the,
Appreciate that. Thank
and
you.
I don't
It's
mean
great
in
to hear.
yeah, I just mean you have the in-depth of, I like how you're thinking. You're thinking, I call it polarity thinking. You're thinking of both polarity, not just like, hey, let's just do everything AI. AI is the best thing. No, we have to also be able to balance the human side with the automation side. And by doing that, we're actually doing our customer much more favor rather than just saying, yeah, we can just do everything AI. And then
Yeah.
basically our real trust is diminished because we don't understand how to balance those two sides. But I love how you're thinking in terms of let's do what's really intimate. Let's free up people to do more that intimate connection,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
let's AI take care of the automatic
Yeah.
part of it.
It's really starting with the customer, with the end user, and tailoring anything we do to them. And we're not using AI because we can't. A couple years back, companies would come to my previous consulting employer and be like, "We need an app." It's like, "Why do you need an app?" Because everybody has an app. Well, that's not really customer focused, right?
That's so
We
focused.
need an app only if it makes sense in terms of providing a service or providing a product to the customer. And that's the same with AI. AI is everywhere and everybody wants to do AI, but um, we talked about this on our previous chat. there's a study done by MIT that 95% of AI projects don't make it past the pilot, don't make it into development, or show actual impact on P&L. And that's because people just like do these broadband pilots and don't really think about, okay, what is the actual problem for the end user or for the user that I'm trying to solve to really create value, to really create an impact. And that's also something that we talk to our customers now at Nice Cognigy about is what do you actually want to deliver and what do you actually want to do? And then we sort of build this, impact feasibility matrix of different use cases. And we start with the low-hanging fruits. It might not seem like we're doing this crazy AI thing and it's gonna from day one take over doing everything. But we start small. We start with, IDNV, we start with password resets, or just like these really delivery tracking, these really baseline use cases that have a big impact because the volume is huge, right? So it's not treating AI as this like silver bullet that from day one is going to solve all my problems. It's all knowing. No, first of all, it starts and falls with the data behind it. It's not all knowing. We need to make it all knowing, and we need to iterate, and we need to start small and build upon that. Like start small, prove value early, and then you start being successful rather than by dumping everything into AI and expecting it to work.
No, that makes total sense. It's the same for humans, right? When you go into a new organization, start small, build your reputation. Why won't it be for the AI? Yeah. Thank you
Exactly.
so much, Janik. I'd love to have you back because I think you're one of those voices that really makes sense. You're not creating hype out of AI. You're really creating business value. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Happy to be back.